Hi guys, this is Spartan765. This is a video about how to accurize your mosin nagant m44. A lot of mosin nagant m44s out there have mildly pitted barrels, as does this one, but the grooves and lands in this rifle are still extremely thick. None of that's gone. It's just mild, not even it's barely a dark bore. It's just mildly pitted. Before this was done, it was getting about 5-inch groupings at 100 meters. That is on a table, not moving at all, pulling the trigger, which is good for off-the-rack surplus M44 with a not perfect bore. One thing I would recommend you do, again, do at your own risk, as a disclaimer, whatever, I did is I floated the barrel in mine. Most nagant barrels are not the easiest thing in the world to float. If you're just going to go with 100 grit sandpaper, you'll be at it all day. The key to getting a floated barrel is take a piece of paper after you think you get it done, slide it down. It should go up through here, all the way over to here without hitting anything, and should not catch. I use paper instead of a dollar bill because paper's thicker and it more movement. Now, as you'll notice here, when I move this up here, it stops right about there. That is intentional. You want a little bit of upwards pressure in your barrel. That is that prevents your barrel from in my personal opinion, if you free float a barrel 100%, I think, in my personal opinion, I've noticed you start to shoot in circles, like as your barrel warps a little bit with the heat. But then I think it bends back because. Whatever. But I like to leave a little upwards pressure here. A little upwards pressure is always good. I don't know what it does, but it just makes it more accurate. And then again, everybody's rifles are different. But with my Mauser K31, my K31 was already just came from the factory. It was floated. Everything was perfect all the way up to here, all the way up to there, the end of the stock. Mauser was the same way. Most nagant 9130, I did that too. Floated it all the way up to here. In my M44, I'm floating it up to here. I hope to get 2 to 3 inch groupings with this rifle at 100 meters now. I don't personally like shimming the receiver out because I think that can lead to decrease in accuracy. Because your receiver here, you don't want sitting up on shims, only being held in by just 2 points. You want the whole receiver seated tightly into the stock. That somehow improves accuracy. I mean, if you have it shimmed up, a millimeter or two, you're only having pressure on these 2 screw points here. And probably not the best thing for the stock, and the whole receiver will vibrate then. But if you have the whole thing tight in the barrel, or tight in the stock, that's what you want. Now, just to show you how far down I have gone with this receiver here, how far down I sanded. If you can't see it, I'm just taking off the I'm just taking the barrel off here. Bear with me. Okay. Now this is just going to show what I did, and I'll tell you what type of sandpaper to use too. I'm sure if you've noticed, if you're looking to get an M44, they haven't been able to find them. That's because they're buying up quickly. They're buying up almost as fast as SKSs are. Just to have an M44 now is a good thing. Okay, this is the barrel canal. As you can see, this little hole, that tiny little hole right there, is the top part of the sling port. I sanded down all the way to the sling port. That's how far I had to sand down to get it to free float. That's how much, and that's about a 2 to 3 millimeters sanded off there. That is how much this barrel was being pushed up by this whole stock, and you can imagine that is not good for the barrel, because that's a ton of pressure on the barrel, a ton of stress. That when you shoot, if you got your barrel hot enough from shooting it, you could actually bend your barrel having that much pressure pushed on it. As you can see, yeah, that is down to about where the top of the sling is. If you look in there, you can kind of see light. That's how thin it is. It's only about a 0.5 millimeter thick there, if that. what you should use to do this is I use just 60 grit 3M sandpaper, the blue crap, that seems to work the best, 60 grit. And then once you get it floated, then sand it down to kind of smooth it out with some 100 grit. I don't go any less than that. You shouldn't really need to worry about your hand guard because those are already, hand guards are very well made, and on mine I got about 4 millimeters of play within the top of my hand guard. That was I had about 3. I had about 2 or 3 before I sanded that barrel or canal down. Let's take a look at what it looks like in here. It looks like about an oval, and that's what a lot of them will look like, because over time your stock will warp up, could warp up, warp down, and the whole point is to free float the barrel, just so it's not touching the stock anyway except for right up here. That's where you want it. Just to hang on one second here, sorry. Just to show the condition of this barrel. Now, I'm going to try to get the best camera picture here I can. Now, the barrel here isn't that bad. As you can kind of, I'll get a better light. The barrel here isn't that bad, as you can see. All the lands and grooves are still there. It's just a little dark. I mean, there are no big problems with it at all. Very nice barrel, or not very nice, but nice enough to get 3-inch groupings at 100 meters. 3-inch groupings for your like, let's say a new modern rifle at 100 meters is bad, or even for a Mauser or a K31 is bad. But most nagant M44s, even one with a perfect bore, they will get around, you know, about 2 to 3-inch groupings, just mainly because of the fact that most nagants, people don't bother to accurize them at all or anything like that. You know, just shooting them with stock like that, you're probably going to get about 3, 4-inch, 2-inch groupings. With this sanded down now, I should be able to get about 2 to 2.5-inch groupings with this rifle. That is a very good way, if your barrel isn't perfect in your mosin nagant, a way to accurize it, make it good. Most nagants are getting harder and harder to come by. The 9130s aren't, but the shorter M44s and M38 carbines are. Mainly just because of the reason they're compact, they're short, and they have a bayonet. They used to sell them at Gander Mountain. I've been to about 8 different Gander Mountain locations. They get a crate of them in, they're gone in a couple days. It never used to be like that. A year ago, you'd go in there, they'd have 15 of them in the store for 8 months and they wouldn't sell, but now they're selling like crazy. Got any questions, comments about this? This is a pretty safe way to alter a rifle without decreasing the value. Like most of the nagant M44 is just, you know, pretty basic. This is a 1944 model. They produced a couple million, or about 1,500,000 during that year. That was the highest year of production. So this rifle here really isn't anything rare or anything super special. It's a run-of-the-mill M44. But if you got like a 1943, they only made 50,000 of those, I wouldn't do this. But just to keep the general, keep it generally authentic, doing this is not anything that would decrease the value, I don't think. Because this does accurize it. It's not altering anything dramatically. It still looks the same externally. All the only difference is it will perform better. You got any questions, comments, send me a message. I'll be happy to help you out. Spartans M65 out.